Hey everybody, Ray Hayden here, and in this video I'm not wearing my microphone for safety because I'm going to be climbing up on the roof of the barn. I wanted to point out a couple of things here in the trees. Now, number one is if you look in this one tree behind me here, you'll see that that is a palm tree back there growing up in the middle of these oak trees. That palm tree might not be able to do well there. You know, it's been living there for a while, but it's kind of getting choked out up at the top, all right? And like I said in my other video, palm trees beget palm trees, so this one here is trying to make a whole bunch of little baby palm trees, but these are undergrowth. I'm gonna have to clear these out because I want to open this field up, and that's one thing. Another thing I want to point out here is, and it may be because this palm tree is here, this oak tree here is kind of growing in a funky way. It goes up and makes a turn, but that's nothing compared to these other ones that we have here. And we have a couple of them, just walk through a spider web. We have a couple of them around here like that. Now this palm tree right here is going, you know, it's growing pretty well. It's growing pretty straight. But this one branch here that ends, that's a dead branch. So that's gonna be a problem. I'm gonna have to trim that branch off. And it's right around the thickness that I don't like to have to deal with the manual saw, so I'll have to use the electric chainsaw on that one. There's another tree here, right here, that's just leaning, and it's got really nowhere to go because these other limbs and everything have either pushed it or dragged it out of the way or whatever, and things are not going to go well for this particular tree. Down the road, it's going to have serious problems. This other set of palm trees right here, right there, that's a couple of palm trees. They're very close together. They will grow together and they will become a single tree. Back in the back here, I've been clearing all this area out back here. Back in the back, right around there, I believe it is. But it's further back in there, okay? It looks like it might be closer, but it's not. It's further away. That particular area, there is another palm tree growing up in the middle of 4 trees, which is just like this deal here, but there's a palm tree in the center of it, so the trees can't get together and grow together. So I have to make a decision on which trees to save and which ones aren't going to make it. There is this tree over here, which is unique. Of course, we have a lot of this here where, you know, every time it rains, something falls out of a tree, and you don't want to be under it when it happens. This tree right here, this big one, is just growing off in that direction. It's not going to go anywhere else. So I'm going to have to make a kind of a decision what happens with that. And again, I believe it's because of this palm tree right here. This palm tree looks pretty good, but one of these trees is paying a price because of the other tree. This palm tree right back here, this has a couple of dead branches on it. I've been pruning them off. When they start going crazy off in a crazy direction and it unbalances the tree, I have to make a decision for the tree of which branches to get rid of so that the tree has a better chance of survival and being a nice, strong, viable tree. This tree here has a dead branch growing off of it. That's this one here, if I can get that angle straight. All right, so that's a dead branch. I'm just going to pull that one off. But today, the real hazard is going to be up on the roof. Up on the roof at the barn. One of the things about the barn that I never did like is the area I just walked through. I opened up the gate here so I can get through here. The other gate on the other side is how I normally get into the back field, but the mud, it's just too muddy back there. I can go through there with the tractor, making a real mud pit. So I opened up this one here because I can get the tractor and my lawnmower through here. But let's look at the roof of the barn and see what's going on here. We got green plant life growing on the roof of the barn, and that's not good. So we're gonna have to get rid of that. Basically just push it off. Also, you'll see here, I'll go around the front of the barn and we'll take a look at it from there, but there's a whole bunch of stuff growing over and touching the barn. And then as these leaves fall off, the leaves decay, plant droppings from birds or plants, you know, shedding some things off and landing up there, and moisture getting up in there makes a nice little soil for these things to grow. Now, if you look over here, these are part of these nasty, nasty vines that will grow. It would be something and a half if I could just pull the whole thing down. But I have to go up on the roof and basically push all that off. And I'm going to drop it all right here. And on the property, we have a hole in the ground. Match the hole in my head. We have this hole back here that we got to fill in. So you know, do you find extra dirt or you buy extra dirt? We try to find extra dirt, and we find it, and then we can put it in here and push it in. There's some, this is like a little downhill grade right here. Let me check my automatic settings here and kind of make this more equalized. There we go. And, but basically I've been pushing this dirt, kind of pulling the dirt from the surrounding area and kind of trying to flatten this out and level it out. That's another video and another day. Still trying to work on that. But anyway, so I got to get this stuff here off of the roof of the barn. So let's take a look out the front of the barn. And by the way, the main purpose of the barn right now is just for our tractor. You know, we can do something else with that and put the tractor, make another garage for the tractor or something like that and put it in there. But you see these trees are actually touching the roof of the barn on this side. These are those branches that are leaning way over. And they're coming in, and let me get out of the sun. All right, so, you know, I got to get rid of these branches from touching the top of the barn. One of the things that I like to see is the house is in the background over there. And this tree, there's a tree off in the distance over here that was blocking. And some of these trees, the branches were hanging down, blocking so far the view, stealing the focus away, that we really couldn't see the barn from the house. We could hardly see it, except for the fence that had been here. I removed the fencing and stuff. And if you look at the house in the distance over there, you can kind of see around the house. If we're in different places on the property, we can see around the house. And I want to get the barn like that too. I don't want these trees blocking it out, covering it, touching it, doing damage to it more than it's already happened or whatever. So I can get up there and work on that. And I'll make a couple of more video clips up there about what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, and why I'm doing it. I'm doing a couple of different tools up here. I am going to use the chainsaw for things that are, you know, if it's viable. Okay, so if it's viable, if it makes sense, if it works, then I'll go ahead and use that. Look at this dead tree limb right up here. This thing is so skinny. There's another one over there. I mean, this thing is just dead. But there was a couple of, you know what, in all honesty, I don't think I'd be able to use the chainsaw up there at all. But I'll trim these down with the pole saw. I got the pole saw laying on the ground over there by the ladder. I'll trim down some of these limbs. I have a handsaw too. I also have a handsaw that's like the pole saw. It's got a big curved blade on it, and it cuts real fast. So I'll trim down as much of the weight of these branches as I can while I'm up there. First, I'm going to push this green stuff down onto the ground here. That stuff I'm going to throw in the hole over here to have it, you know, kind of compost and fill in that hole back there. And then I'll go up and trim the branches up as much as I can. I'll make a couple of snippets along the way. So the first step is push this stuff down on the ground. Second step is to trim the branches as much as I can with the handsaw, then use the pole saw that's back there on the ground right there. And I'll you know, grab some of the bigger things because they're going to kind of hit with a thud, but I want to lighten them up before they do that, you know. So let me go ahead and get up there and do some pushing of the broom and see what I can get done first. And hang on, I'll catch you in a few in the next clip. I'm up on the roof of the barn, and let me see if I hope you can see that pretty good in the shot. I don't even have a third of this stuff on here. It basically stuck to the top of the barn. I have to break it free with the back side of the broom first, then push it off, sweep it off the thing onto the ground behind the barn. Then we'll take it over that hole I was talking about before. Well, I'll show you these really unique trees over here. There's a couple of curved branches up there. So you can get my hand in the way there. A couple of curved branches. They're coming from this set of trees over here. They're growing up, curving over and hanging down over there. And they're going across. They're going across in here. Hopefully we can see this on the video later. They're growing across another branch in another tree. So those limbs are going to have to go because it's not going to work out pretty. I'm looking at these branches over here behind me. If you look up there, and there's like 5 or 6 dead branches. There's 2 right here next to me. These 2 branches right here are absolutely dead. And then some of these branches up here, I'm going to cut down with the saw first. I'm going to use a hand saw first. Then I'm going to come back in and use the pole saw to get ones like that one there up as close as I can to the root of the branch. So it, you know, because I can't reach it, it's too dangerous for me to get it. But I can get it from the top of the barn here. And I'll try to get rid of some more of these branches. But it's crazy. It's just absolutely crazy. It's rather dangerous. Miss Demeanor is actually with me. She's hiding out of the scene. She's right there behind the barn hiding. because she doesn't get on video. So anyway, let me do some more of the sweeping, and I'll show you what the barn looks like, the roof of the barn looks like in the next clip after I'm done sweeping it off. But it's easy enough to do. I feel secure enough in where I'm standing to get this done. And I just have to break this stuff loose a little bit, then it'll slide pretty much right off. I also have to work from the bottom up. I tried getting it from the top and pushing it all down, and that's not going to work because it's kind of stuck a little bit to the roof. And you can see that, you know, maybe you can tell, I don't know, but a little bit of stuff turns into dirt, it mulches up or decomposes into a mulch, has the nutrients in it, so when the seeds of any plant land there, it's going to start growing. And I've seen this on traditional housing roofs too, where something will land in there, you know, bird droppings or whatever land on there, dust and dirt get up in there, and the thing starts growing, actually lift up the roof and, you know, let Mother Nature on in. So let me get back to work. I'll show you a clip when I'm done sweeping. Stand by for that. As you see by the deck behind me back here, there's the roof of the barn. I got it pretty much swept off. Now I need to trim these limbs down off the top of it, all right? And some of these limbs are nice and down low, but the actual limb is up high. So for those, I have to reach out with my pole saw. So I'll be bringing it up next. My hand saw, my pole saw. And, you know, we run out of places to stand on to reach those. Now on this side over here, I want to get all the weight off of these branches that I can before I drop the heavier ones from up here, because I don't want them crashing through the roof. Now the roof looks like it's taking a bit of a hit. I can't tell if it's rust or just decayed matter. I think this is a, not corrugated, I forget, galvanized? I think it's a galvanized steel roof on this thing. So, got my broom here. Let me give a shout out to my friend Sgt Nick Fury. Okay, he's a veteran. And of course, Nick Fury, if you can watch any of the Avengers stuff, Nick Fury he's called him Fury. Well, I want to give a shout out to my friend Nick Fury. That's his YouTube channel, Sgt Nick Fury. And I'm going to save that last bit of sweeping so we can all see it. All right? Hang on a second, let me get it all geared up. A big sweep, and off it goes. Right? Big sweep, and off that goes. Now that's pretty much what it is to it. But I had to break the stuff up about a quarter at a time. I get the first quarter of it off, then get about another 2/3 of what's left off, and then that final third is what I just finally pushed off. Now I'm going to go down the ladder, take a break. Miss Demeanor's going to bring me some liquid refreshment, low-calorie flavored water. I made a video about that earlier. Anyway, so after I take a break, I'm going to come up here, do some trimming, and I will show you what I did after I get some of these things trimmed down. All right, so hang on for that, and I'll see you in the next clip. Been chopping away at these branches up here. Got all the branches off of the roof. Miss Demeanor is my safety officer, and she's been watching me from that Kubota down there. I'm sorry, that's a Toro. The Kubota is unsafely in the barn while I've been cutting all this down. All right, so cut a lot of these limbs down. Some more sunlight comes through. Got rid of some of the canopy. Hopefully the roof will stay a little drier. Let me get off the roof and I'll show you what it was that I was cutting down. Hopefully Miss Demeanor will let me borrow that clip that she shot of a big branch falling down after I was cutting it down, right? So let me get off this roof. It's looking pretty good. Looking pretty good down there, right? We can see the barn a little bit better. I need to get rid of these limbs here that are blocking the view of the barn from the house. All right, so let me get off the roof. Talk to you in the next clip. What we got back here is all the stuff. These are all the limbs. I really kind of meant to throw them on the other side of the barn. But a lot of these limbs up there, you see a lot more visibility up in there. It's just easier to push them down on this side. Big limbs and all that. Now, one of these limbs over here did some damage. I'm real rough on my equipment, by the way. And Mr. Fiskars here, there's a Fiskars telescoping Fiskars here. All right, give him a shout out. Fiskars did well. I was cutting down a limb and another limb fell down on it. Or that limb fell down and pinned this one here and it just snapped that baby right in half. It'd be great if I could just buy the top part of this. I'll see if I can or not. But there's another thing about this. See, this blade is off center here? Where is that? The blade's off center. The blade's not right in the center, right? I would like it better, Fiskars, if the blade was dead center with the cutting, because if it's slightly off, the further you extend out, the more of a pain in the neck it is to cut. And that string thing I hate because it keeps trying to kill me. This is the other stuff I did get to push off the front. All right, so I got to push a lot of stuff off the front. Here's the front. Nothing's touching the top or the roof of the barn. Nothing is at this point touching the roof of the barn. And there are some branches that got to come down. Somehow, some way or another, I have to get rid of a number of these branches. They're way far out from the tree. They're coming from that tree over there, so I got to get rid of those. They will kill the tree and eventually fall in the barn. I don't know how I'm going to deal with this. This tree is a couple of trees grew together, right? Like that over there. That's a hollowed out tree. That tree's dead. There's no way that thing's going to be viable. And a palm tree next to it. So these don't grow together. But these do. That's two trees grew together. And there's another tree over there. It would love to join their party and grow together with them. But that's not going to happen because of what happened here. All right? There's some dead branches up there too. Now if I treat this as a branch off of that tree, I can cut this off right here. If I cut this one off right here, it gets rid of all that dangerous material. All right? So I can clean it up. All right, so here's the deal right now. I'm going to take the bucket, my polar cart. I'm going to hook it up back to the back of the Toro. Toro's going to act like a mini tractor. I'm going to use my chainsaw. That's that chainsaw I just made a video about. Let's go take a look at that baby again. There it is, sitting on the big rotary mower on the tractor back there. I'm going to take that chainsaw out, chop up all these things, put them in the polar cart, tow them over to fire pit and get that ready for the next burn. Do some more clay. Every time it rains in Florida, more limbs fall. It's a trip. Anyway, so wait till the next clip. Hang on with me. Hang in there. And I will talk to you in the next clip after I clean all this stuff up, because I got some more work to do today. All right? Hang on. Stay with me. All right, time for another video clip. I hope this comes out nice and clean, because I don't know, there's not a part of me that is dry. At this particular point, I am soaking wet from head to toe, and it feels like I'm wearing a water balloon for pants. Anyway, so that's the Toro and the polar cart behind it. Back there in the distance behind me, underneath some of them trees or something, right, there's a bunch of trees back there. You will see there is a couple of piles of the stuff. And I want to give you a note about that Ryobi chainsaw thing I got there, right? It's a 40 volt chainsaw. And this battery that I have with it, I talked about it in the other video. This is the smallest battery I have. And this thing here it's a 40 volt, 55 watt. It's a 55. It's not even 1 amp. All right. So it's watts, and that did. We'll look at that burn pile in a bit. Most of the cutting done for that, most of the trimming, most of the dropping of the limbs was done with a handsaw. All right, that was my Fiskars that I broke because a limb fell on it. But most of the rest of that stuff was trimmed up with that 55 watt battery. And then I just changed it to a 2.6 amp battery. And that finished up the cutting. And now this stuff here, I got to go old school shovel and a rake. And I'll be doing that. And then I'll be filling in that hole where that grass is sticking up back there. That's actually a hole. And all of this organic material here is going in the hole. So I'll show you that when I get that done. Hang tight. See you in the next clip. All right, Ray Hayden here, and I have not really filled in the hole. Yeah, the hole looks kind of like it's filled in, but no, that's not. You drive your tractor on that, you might be asking for a tow out of that hole. In fact, right here, the front end of my tractor did that nosedive with the front wheels, and luckily I got my tractor stuck with the front wheel stuck in a hole or something back when I was removing fences. And what I was able to do was take the bucket and point it down, push it down, and while it's down, it actually lifts up the front tires, and then tilt the bucket, pushes you back while you're stepping on the reverse pedal. And I got myself out of the hole. Now this one here wasn't that bad. The one over there by the burn pit, over what used to be Penn. We used to have a field called Penn, tiny field. But this one here was not that bad. The other one that I got stuck in was really, really bad. I thought I was going to have to call a tow truck to get me out. So this is the end result here. What I did is, I was using the Toro and that bucket, and I was loading it up by hand. But it's like, you know what? Miss Demeanor got me a tractor, so I'm going to put the tractor to work, and I did. And at the meantime, I also scraped some of this dirt up a little bit too. Took some of that dirt, because the organic material alone wasn't going to get the job done filling that hole up. And all of the material I had so far still isn't enough to fill that hole up. But it's a whole lot better off than it was. And, there's some tree trimming I got to do over here, some limb removal or whatever for the safety of the trees. Yeah, here's one right here, for example. This one right here, this limb's been trimmed up quite a bit already. But these two trees could grow together, right? But all the weight of this tree is leaning that way. So they're not really going to get together, grow together, and, snuggle up. A lot of these trees back here, you see there's like space between them down low. But these are a number of trees that grew together. And if they don't grow too far apart, they can grow together and become one ginormous tree, like the one in the distance out there by the house. Okay, so that tree out by the house over there, you see that tree trunk. That thing is huge. That is what I think they call it, a heritage tree or something like that. That tree is an old tree. It's been around for a long time, and it still keeps on ticking, right? So that's great. But this tree here, this one here, is not going to grow together unless I get rid of some of that outstanding, way out leaning stuff and balance this tree out a little bit. Or, I hate to think it, but I may have to end up getting rid of that one. We'll see. I try to save the tree because branches are, places birds get to hang out in the trees. So, all right, so let's go take a look at the burn pile. And that's pretty much, I'm going to call it a day right here at the barn. Barn is cleared off. I just need to get some of these limbs down here so we can see the barn a bit better. The limbs, I might have said trees, but I meant limbs. And then this limb right here, right there, and a couple other ones. And then these limbs right here over my head, they actually grow actually close to the ground over there, and they're actually arced over a branch from this other tree. It's a hoot and a half. These oak trees are a trip. I'll never figure them out. Anyways, let's go take a look at a burn pile. And like I said, man, that Ryobi electric chainsaw has been doing one heck of a job. The thing came with a 4 amp battery. I've yet to use it so far. I mean, all the cutting I've needed to do, I run out of power before that thing does. So, because I got the 5 batteries. I use the lowest powered one first, work up to the highest power one, just to get through the batteries and so I can get them recharged. Keep recycling them, right? All right, so I'll load up all this stuff and we'll catch up over at the burn pile. Catch you in the next segment. Hang tough. Hang tough. All right, this is going to be the final clip of this video. Nice work day. That's the barn in the background where we were working all day. These limbs are the limbs that we cut. So I swept all that stuff off the roof in the back, took that organic material, put it in the hole with additional dirt that I scraped up with the tractor. I want to make sure I got clear on that. The organic material, it was lightweight stuff, but there were some heavy limbs in it. I trimmed those up and put them over here at the burn pile. But I also meant to just simply shovel that stuff into the Toro, the Polar cart here, pull it with the Toro, and dump it in the hole, right? That didn't really work out. Miss Demeanor got me the tractor, so I put it to work. Got the tractor, scraped everything up, lowered the bucket. I don't think I explained that. I lowered the bucket, but I still had to shovel stuff in. I did get a couple of loads where you drive into it, pick it up, and then take it and dump it. But I'm not really that good at it. That's like a skill I have not yet developed, is to scoop up material and then go drop it off. Basically, I have to manually load the front bucket, unfortunately. And I did that a lot. I did like 5 or 6 loads, shoveling it into the bucket, but I scrape it back, right? I put the bucket down and then scrape backwards, get a nice pile of material. Then it's easy to shovel it into the front one without breaking my back too much. And that's how I filled that hole up. I got more material I got to put in that hole because it's gonna be weak for a while. Now this stuff here is there's 2 loads. That's 2 loads of stuff in the burn pile, right? So, and then there's 1, 2, 3. There's actually 4 other piles of stuff. There's 2 piles out there. So what I got here is I've got 6 piles of burn material here. That is the burn pile, and hopefully you can tell we keep a big ring around it and everything else. Get right down to sand because sand's not going to burn. And these trees are not that close. These trees are not that close. They're got to be, I don't know, 50, 75 feet away. And this tree right here isn't that close either. It's probably 50 feet away. This tree, this palm tree, is the closest one, but this thing here is not going to catch on fire. But by the way, those palm fronds, you see the palm fronds in these trees, and the palm trees, when those palm trees fall down, they turn brown. They get real brownish and everything, dried out and everything. Those things kind of explode in a fire. So if you ever have a hard time starting a fire somewhere, survivalist or whatever, and you got the dried up palm frond somewhere, that's your ticket to a blazing fire, right? So anyways, but that's the burn pit. That's the work we did on that. And you can see back in there behind, I can see right there, that's my neighbor's thing. It's in his horse, for his horses. But you can see back through there more and more. And that's nice because the next thing I'm going to work on is that treed area back there. It's back in there with let me see if I can get that really big tree in there. Where is that thing? There it is, back in the back. It's a really tall tree. I think it's dead. But anyways, that may or may not be on our property. I don't even know because I can't get into the forest, right? So that's the next big project on this property I'm working on. Right now it's maintaining the property to the best of my ability, keeping the grass real short so it can stay nice and dry, and then trimming trees. I'll be doing a lot of tree trimming and stuff like that. Hopefully the wind isn't making too much of a problem with the microphone here, all right? So anyways, that's going to wrap it up for this one. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up, like this video, make a comment below, let me know you came by to say hi, and if you have not already done so, please subscribe to the channel. I greatly appreciate the growth on the network, and until I catch you all in the next video, take care and be well.